Do I need to do anything?
Hello, everybody. Welcome. So glad to be with you tonight. I am Lauren Lefkowitz, Executive Leadership Coach, and so glad to have you here. I have Anat Rodan with me, dear friend and also a coach. And before I ask Anat to introduce herself, I just want to go over some logistics. We are streaming through StreamYard. And so we are live on LinkedIn and YouTube and Facebook. If you want to join in on the fun, we're more than happy to have you comment. You're very much encouraged to do so. We love for this to be a group discussion as much as possible. If you haven't granted permission for StreamYard to use your name, you'll come up as like LinkedIn user or Facebook user or YouTube user, and we'll still call you out, but we won't necessarily know who you are. Anat, I'm so glad to be with you.
Me too.
Let's have you introduce yourself. Tell people who you are.
Okay, I am Anat Rodan. I'm also a leadership coach, but for creatives that want to live their life with confidence and joy and impact other people's life through that. So, and I come from the design and brand strategy world, and working with creatives is the best thing that ever happened to me. And I'm so happy to be here.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So Anat, let's just tell people how we know each other. We met in a coaching cohort. We both got introduced to coaching in different ways. And we'll tell everybody our stories a little bit, but we met in this coaching cohort as very closed off strangers.
It's hard to believe, huh?
Yeah. And the program that we were in was super intense and was a 1 weekend intensive a month. So the whole weekend we spent together just sort of opening up our hearts and our minds and really learning a lot about ourselves and each other, and a lot of laughing and a lot of crying. And
we did it for a whole year.
And we did it for a whole year. Yes, exactly. And we both graduated from the program, and I had no intention of letting each other go. And so we talk all the time, and both feel just really glad to have each other in our lives. But Anat, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about like what brought you into coaching and what happened when you got there?
Woo. Okay, so I started as a graphic designer, and at some point I completely lost my passion for design. So while I was looking for this passion that I lost, I found brand strategy. And I started working with friends, other brand strategists and designers. And the work we did together, on top of changing their businesses, it really changed their life. And it blew my mind because I didn't know what we did to go so deep. And you know me, Lauren, I got really curious. So the only way I thought about how I can go about that was learning to become a coach. If anyone is listening to us that is a brand strategist or know what brand strategy is, a lot of brand strategists are also coaches. And I didn't have a clue what it meant. People told me you are coaching, and I said, no, I don't think so. I need to learn before I do anything. I met a friend that is also a brand strategist, and I saw the way that she's being in selling. And I just said, oh my gosh, I want that. What is that? She was just beaming. I felt that there was a secret behind it, that there was something that I didn't know that she's doing. That's how I approach it, doing. And she told me about AC, accomplishment coaching, the cohort coaching program that we went through, and I signed up. And I mean, it took me a while to fall in love with it because I thought, I'll learn, I'll coach a little bit, and I'll see if I like it. But it doesn't work like that. I mean, I fell completely in love with it after 4 months. It took some time. It grew on me really slowly, but oh my gosh. So the
Yeah.
first, I fell in love with it because of my transformation. And then, I mean, wow, I realized that I can hold the same space for other people
Yes.
and just see the transformation that I went through, holding this space for them to go through the same thing, the experience that I went through. And it was so wonderful and deep for me that I felt that this is my calling.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and I came in from a pretty different place, which was that I had coaching experience, not the kind of coaching experience we learned about.
Right.
But I had been coaching during my career in HR, and
Mhm.
always found myself like sneaking in opportunities to coach.
Yay.
Right. And I'd be like, that was so great. I wish I could do that all the time, and not
Wow.
making a connection that I could do that all the time.
Yeah.
And uh and I loved HR for 15 years, and I
Yeah.
worked in it for 20. And
Wow. Yes. 5
and so
years.
that last 5 years, I was, trying to suddenly, 15 years into my HR career, 20 years or so into my work career,
Yeah.
and suddenly I was like, I don't know what I want to do when I grow up. And
Oh.
um and started looking for another job, and all the
Mhm.
jobs seemed the same, and still, sneaking in
Yeah.
coaching people when I could. Um and and I finally realized that this couldn't be the life for me, the long-term life
Yeah.
for me, that I wasn't going to be happy. The last job that I was in, I had gone to because I wanted like a reset. I wanted to like not be a workaholic anymore and have balance,
Mhm.
not volunteer for
Yeah.
all the things. And changing jobs doesn't do that for
Right.
us,
So
right?
what did it? What did it for
Uh,
you?
I came with me to the next job, and I was like, damn it, I'm still doing all the same stuff.
Okay.
Um, the first thing that did it for me was as you know, but maybe not everybody does. I broke both of my shoulders in a very weird chasing a Roomba vacuum after a lamp cord,
Oh my gosh.
socks on a wood floor situation. That was the most terrible and funniest thing that ever happened to me. And so I was out of work for several months,
Yeah.
it felt like this big reset and this big opportunity to stop being a hand raiser, and like literally could not put my hand up because my shoulders didn't move.
Right.
But I went right back to it. And
Mm.
then there I was in the middle of 80 to 100-hour work weeks. The pandemic was starting, and that became my responsibility too, because if you're out there and you're watching and you're HR, all of us have had that happen. We became the pandemic officers. And I was actually, at the time that all this was happening, I was working with a therapist
Mm.
uh, because of some post-traumatic stuff with the fall. And
Yeah.
so it was like a year after I had the fall, and I was still having a lot of like flashbacks to the moment, and a lot of my brain playing this game where it was everywhere I looked, I could see ways I could fall and get injured. And
Oh.
and so it was like a constant, really exhausting loop, which is what
Yeah.
happens with post-traumatic
Right.
issues. You flash back and you also flash forward.
Yeah.
And what I found was that the kind of therapy that I was in, which was EMDR, which is a specific kind of like a rhythmic treatment
Mhm.
therapy, wasn't really doing anything for me, but sitting and being with myself was helpful.
Mm.
And then I realized like this therapy isn't helping me, because what my brain needs is like just time to get over the anxiety of
Okay.
this fall. And realized I didn't need therapy. I didn't know what I needed, but I realized like therapy had helped me to a point, and I'd been in therapy before. And then I came across coaching, which was so funny because I already was coaching, and it like never occurred to me to have my own coach. And ran into an old friend who
Yeah.
became my coach and introduced me to the coach program that we went through.
Oh, so your first coach used to be a friend of yours.
She was a colleague.
Oh,
She
okay.
worked with,
Okay.
and she was actually a contractor for a company I worked for. And so I paid her bills. We said hellos. You know, we had a very sort of casual, like, nice to see you kind of relationship.
Yeah.
And I reconnected with her,
Mhm.
Selena Reams, and she was amazing and is amazing. And
Nice.
so she became my coach while I was talking to her about the idea of being a full-time coach,
Mhm.
and still thinking like, that's ridiculous. You can't actually do that as a career. I realized that that was my next step, that it wasn't that I needed therapy at that time. I
Right.
went back to therapy, but I I didn't need therapy at that time. And what I needed was possibility, which is the topic we're talking about today,
Mm.
right? Like,
Okay.
I needed to see that what I had built for myself, which is what I went after, which was like an executive HR career. Like, that was the thing I was going after all these years. And then I
Mm.
finally got there, and I wasn't doing it the way I wanted to do it. And I wasn't living it the way I wanted to live it. And I
Yeah.
just wasn't in love with it anymore. Kind of the way you said, like, you weren't in love with what you were doing anymore.
No.
And then once you're not in love with it, it's
That's
like
it.
this switch flips and you're like,
Yes.
now I hate it. Right? Like,
Oh my gosh. It is so crazy. I mean, I completely understand what you're saying. For me, it was so hard for me to let go. So because I couldn't, I'm sure you were I mean, I couldn't separate myself
yeah,
from my work.
right.
Work was everything.
Mhm.
More so because I freelanced and I was working at home. So it's like, okay, I can work with my pajamas on, and especially, in the pandemic.
Right.
So it was easier. But yeah, I mean, you were talking about therapy. I went to therapy after my daughter started college because she had a really difficult first year and a few things happened. So, and for anxiety,
Mhm.
and I was working with my therapist, and at some point I felt like it doesn't work for me. I mean, I did everything I had to do in therapy, and I'm stuck. I'm still stuck in a few places. And I found this really great therapist. She's a CBT therapist. It's a cognitive behavioral therapy. I have to say it's very similar to coaching.
Mhm.
Um, so, and that what just took me, going forward. And I mean, it helped me. I usually it takes a few months. It's a short treatment, but it took me really quickly because I had the foundation of the therapy. I
Mm.
just finished it really quickly. So I think both of us are familiar with all these healing ways.
Yeah.
um, and I think, if I may say so, we found coaching to be such a beautiful way to go forward with our life.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 That's so I do want to just like distinguish for everybody that
Right.
coaching
Right.
is not therapy. We are not
It's
licensed.
not healing. It's not healing. Yeah.
Right. I mean, there is healing that happens in
Well,
coaching.
true.
But we are not healers, we are not therapists.
No.
Therapy focuses on trauma, it focuses
Pain,
on the past, it focuses on pain,
past,
it focuses
digging into
on
the past. Yes.
diagnosed things like anxiety,
Yes.
depression, bipolar, and other things.
Yes.
And it helps you sort of come up from below baseline
Right.
in one or more areas.
Mm-hmm.
And so if your whole life feels like it is below this baseline, therapy can help you get to the baseline. If you have one specific issue that you're dealing with and everything else is above the baseline or at the baseline, then you can deal with one set of issues in therapy and another set of issues in coaching.
Right.
And so the sort of path is that therapy takes you out of below the baseline, and
Mm-hmm.
then coaching is like, now what? what do you want to do? Who do you want to be?
Right.
Right. And you were
Right.
talking a little bit about doing and being before, and you both were raised as big doers, so good at doing and accomplishing and finishing
Oof.
things and performing and presenting and all of that.
And
And
being perfect,
and
right,
being
in what we do.
perfect. Oh, I
Yeah.
loved being perfect. I never was, but I loved the idea of it, right? I loved this idea that, like, if I just get everything exactly right, then I
Yeah.
can stop. Then I can, like, sit down
Right.
and relax but, you never
You
get
know,
to
we
that.
won't go. I mean, it's not a coaching
Yeah.
session, but what does it mean exactly? Like
Yeah,
compares
exactly.
to who, right?
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, same here, especially, being a designer. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, everything has to align, everything has to sit in the right place. And I have to admit, it took me where I was at design, I was like a high level designer, and it took me a long way in design. But at some point, it just didn't work for me anymore.
Yeah.
Oh
And
gosh.
that's the thing about using perfectionism to get to success,
Yeah.
is like it gets you to a certain point.
Right, exactly.
And then what, right? And so I think that's what's similar about where you and I were. We both were like, well, now what? You
Right.
know? And you get to this point in I think especially in your career, right? And it can
Hmm.
happen in any aspect of life where you've climbed to the top.
Hmm.
Whatever your top is, you've climbed to the top of what you wanted to do. And you're like, I made it.
I made it, and it's beautiful. It's
What's wrong
great
with it? Why am I not happy with it?
until it's not. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's such a great um, point on possibility, which is like, I saw this possibility for myself, right? Like I graduated from college. I tried a couple of different careers really quickly before I settled into HR.
Yeah.
And then once I settled into HR, I saw the path. I saw where
Yeah.
I wanted to get to.
Yeah.
And it took a bunch of years, right? Because it
Yeah.
does. So I'm always working towards something, a promotion, a next level of money, recognition,
Yeah.
whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And then you get to that point. You get to that successful freelance career, that director, VP, CEO job, right? And then you're
Yeah.
like, oh,
Exactly.
right. And so
Exactly.
it's this like stopping point in possibility.
Absolutely.
And for me, talking to Selena that first time and hearing how her life shifted, and I won't share her story, it's hers to share, but hearing how her life shifted was the first time I saw even like a door in the distance
Mm.
that was something else. Because before I talked to her, I didn't even see possibility.
Yeah.
And I think so many people get there in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s,
Right.
whatever, where they've climbed to a thing that was the thing they were going towards.
Right.
Hit the thing, and you're like, I should be so happy.
Yeah, but I'm not.
And then you're not. And then you're like, then you play the it could be worse game, right? Like, well, it could be
Mm.
worse. I could be not this successful. I could be not making this much money. I could lose my job. I could lose my clients. I could,
Yeah.
right? And so you sort of like pat yourself on the back and say, like, well, I'm lucky.
Mm.
I should just be happy.
Mm.
It's bad when you start shoulding your own
Yeah.
life, right? Like, I should just be happy. I should be content with this. I'll just get through the week. Oh, I hear so many people say that. I'll just get
Oh
through this week.
gosh.
And then
See,
you just do the next.
yeah. No, what I wanted to say, your experience is a little bit different than mine. Also, I deal with designers that kind of stuck. I mean, they're overworked, they're super busy. They don't say no. I think,
Yeah,
you're
I'm
kind
familiar
of
with not
yeah.
saying
And again, they can't separate themselves from the work because they're working so hard. They're too nice to say no, you
no. Yeah,
know they are just, and they take everything on them, and it's always the other person that is more important than themselves. So self-love, it's such a fuzzy thing.
yeah,
I want to be nice to people.
yeah,
So yeah, it's crazy. But what I wanted to say is that I got to it from a different. I was looking for myself when I went to and I found brand strategy because I didn't want to let go because that's what I knew all my life. Probably like you. I mean, I started when I was a kid,
Mm-hmm.
drawing. I mean, that's what I knew all my life. Was so hung out on it. And I knew I love creating, but I didn't want to do it for other people. And I felt like, oh my gosh, what am I? I felt so bad about that. Like I
Yeah.
did something wrong. So coaching also helped me separate myself from this feeling. And it's I mean, it opened, like you said, so many doors for me. Because I was never coached before I got to AC.
Mm-hmm.
And it blew my mind. That's why I felt so much in love. I have a great coach, Pat Redding. Thank you, Pat. Um, but she helped me do and be in so many things. She helped me, make a choice.
Yeah.
Um, I learned that there is freedom that I didn't know about
Yeah.
before in my life. And you can have control on whoever you want to be
Mm-hmm.
and where you want to come from.
Yeah.
And you can make the decision every day. Every day. I have to say, we talked about it so many times. It's not easy. It is not easy to fight with all these old stories and my gosh, the survival mechanism that is great, but I don't see any cheetahs roaming around here. um it helps in a lot of ways, but in some ways it's just holding you back. So making this decision every day to say thank you, I
Yeah.
appreciate you. And this is, I really, that's why I said I saw it in CBT, I learned it in CBT. uh, but just going back to it every day to make this work and to make this choice to go forward
Yeah.
and say I'm coming from a different place
Yeah.
in my life.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is just, it taught me so many things, but I'm sure we'll get to it.
Yeah, we have a couple of comments. We've got our friend and fellow coach John Spears giving us a go, Pat Redden. We are big fans of
Yes.
Pat and Lauren and Anat.
Thank you, John. We love you.
And we've got a comment from Lisa Mallory, who is a friend in my network. Anything is possible. Thanks for your transparency and sharing your story. Self-love and creating what is possible is a mindset that matters and sets you free. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
it's, and Anat, I want us to roll back a little bit because we're using a
Sure.
little bit of coach speak, both of us.
Yes. Yes.
Um, in there are a couple of things I want to touch on. One is doing and
Sure.
being,
Yeah.
and one is like what possibility actually means. So
Yeah.
let's start with doing and being.
Okay.
And you and I both talked about being doers, right? And so what does being mean to you instead of doing or in addition to doing?
Wow. Being is a choice.
Mhm.
Being is just being here right now with everything that is open for you, and you can choose what you want to be at
Mhm.
this moment. You can choose from your core, from your essence, from who you really are,
Mhm.
how you want to show up in your life, where you want to go. And this is such a beautiful way to be because it's freedom. You make the choice.
Yeah.
You make the choice.
Yeah.
What does it mean to you, Lauren?
Yeah. So a couple of things. So one thing that really impacted me when I started working with my coach was that as humans, we are trained to do things so we can have things, so we can be what we want. So we can be
Yeah.
happy, we can be content, we can feel ease, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And our philosophy is be first,
Yes.
right? Be so that you can do in a way that feels good. You can do in a way that
Right.
feels free and that doesn't feel like a burden.
Yeah.
You can choose to wake up in the morning and grumble that you have to get out of bed, or you can choose to wake up in the morning and decide I'm a person who wakes up happy. I'm a
Yes.
person who wakes up looking forward to the day. And it's
Yes.
not a switch like that. It's not
No.
just a quick decision and then you're there, right? There's so much to
Yeah.
explore in coaching about like how do you want to be? Who do you want to be? Who are you at your core, right?
Yeah.
And we have some exercises for that to figure out
Right.
who you are when something happens to you, who you are when you get to choose, who you are when you're stressed, who you are when you're not stressed.
Yeah.
Um, and and so we say like be first, then
Right.
you can do and have stuff.
Right. But I think you said something, I don't think I could do it without the support of a coach. Because first I wouldn't know. I
Yeah.
mean, because beyond what we were trained for, our program also provided a coach.
Right.
And without that, and really doing the things that they taught us and being in this place of being coached, I
Hmm.
wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
It would be such a different experience.
Yeah.
And I could get there because, yes, you can learn and it's wonderful, but at the same time, and especially for me, because I wasn't coached before,
Hmm.
it was such a way of learning on myself,
Hmm.
because then I can bring it to others. Because the support I got, I can, bring to other people.
Right.
And that's the beauty of it. Everybody can do it with the
Yes.
support of a coach.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true. It's when I started working with a coach, and actually like most of my clients when they come to me, um, their big fear is what if I don't have anything to talk about?
Oh,
Right? Because like we're doers. We've got it all sorted out. We know how we do stuff. We know how our days work. We know, my I don't know if you can hear the grumbling underneath me, but my dog is very much trying hard not to bark. And so instead she goes this little snort as she wanders around the room, not barking. Um, good job, puppy. Um,
oh my gosh.
but working with a coach, you uncover stuff, right?
Yes.
And so as we start talking about possibility in our relationship to possibility,
Yeah.
I had no idea what was possible when I started working with a coach. Most of my clients have no idea what's possible when they start working with
No.
me, and I bet you would say the same, because it's like I only know this isn't what I want.
Yeah.
That's all you have to start out knowing is like,
Right.
it doesn't work for me. Whatever it is doesn't work for me. And when I started
Yeah.
working with my coach for the first time, I was like, I work 80 to 100 hours a week. It's not going to change, which was, now we laugh at that because of course it will.
Yeah.
But you don't have to know that. You don't have to know I only want to work this
Mm.
much, or this is the job I want, or this is how I want my days to look. You just have to know like this isn't good. This doesn't feel great anymore. Whatever
Yeah.
was working in my life for whatever period of time isn't what I want, and I don't know how to go forward. And you can't
Yeah.
do that alone. You can't.
It,
All you have to see is the possible, and that's why this is like a matrixy title for our live, right? It's you have to see
yeah.
that it's possible to see possibility so that you can see what's possible.
Right. No, I
Right?
mean, I say to people that I work with people that know that there is more for them
Yeah.
than what is available right now. And you're so right. They don't need to know what it is exactly.
Hmm.
They just know that there is more.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
I mean, like you said, I went into I was shocked to what I uncovered
Yes,
about
same.
myself.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, it was mind boggling
Yeah.
where we were and all the things that came up during the sessions. And I have to say, I think for us, because we went through AC, and
Mhm.
we learned was a little bit faster, was like, whoa. um But there are so, I mean, I learned, and I thought about myself that I'm so connected to myself, all these years, all my life.
Yeah.
And this experience just showed me that there's so many more layers. I remember my therapist always said it's like an onion, you peel
Mhm.
the layers.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, there are
Yeah.
more. There are much more than I ever thought there are.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
We've got a comment from Meredith, also from our coaching cohort. Thanks for
Yeah.
showing up, coaching
Yes,
cohort.
Meredith. Oh my gosh,
It's like the
thank you.
automatic way of being is like a blind spot that we can't see. Coaches help you recognize and check your blind spots so that you can be a better driver of your life.
Oh, I
So
love it. I
yeah,
love
so
it.
true. It's
Yeah,
you don't, it's that old you don't know what you don't know, right? So
absolutely.
all you have to know to start working with a coach at any stage in your life, at any part of your career, is that you're not happy with how it's going. And it's
Yeah.
not a therapy issue. It's a,
Mm-mm.
I don't know what to do next. This is as far as I can see, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
And I want it to be different. And so for me, it was interesting because I came out of therapy, went into coaching, started our coach training program where we went real deep into everything and uncovered enough layers of onion that I was like, oh, here's a whole new issue that I've never addressed that is not coaching related, that is therapeutic.
Yeah.
And so at the same time, I had a coach and a therapist working on a couple of different things. And when I worked through some of the stuff in therapy, then I was able to bring that into coaching, right? I was able to
Yeah.
get to my baseline through therapy. And
Mhm.
then through coaching, just sort of discover like, okay, now what do I want? Now that I'm out of my own way, now what do I want?
Yeah.
And it's a constant work in progress. And I mean, if I looked at 2 years ago me and told her that this is what my life looks like now, and right,
Right?
like I knit and I just sometimes sit quietly and I and I just decide not to work some days. And I mean,
You're
2 years ago
choosing.
he would
You
be
are
like, that's for you, but that could never happen for me.
right, but you are choosing for yourself.
I'm
You have the
choosing.
space to
Right.
choose. And this is so hard to believe that that's what you do, especially for doers like us.
Yeah. And you
It's
have to
crazy.
train yourself to choose.
Oh, yeah. It's
Yeah.
not easy. I mean, we're talking about when we're laughing,
Right.
it took us more than a year to get here.
Right.
And I have to say, I still,
Still
like you said
places to
about,
go.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I still come up with new, we talked a little bit about stories from my past and how it affects me now, like survival mechanism. Thing
Mm.
is, like, one of them for me is my survival mechanism is making me feel really cozy where I am.
Mhm.
And she doesn't want me to go forward. She says, oh, here it's very comfy here. Where are you going? It's
Right.
really safe here.
Yeah.
Don't go.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And we learned a lot about the survival mechanism and how it works. And when we talk about survival mechanism, we're talking about sort of our automatic
Ways of being.
go-to
Yeah.
ways when we feel like the world is happening to us.
Right.
So like how we talk to customer service people when the bill is wrong. It's how we react if we miss a bus. It's how we react if somebody comes to us and says, you made a mistake in this
Right.
report, right?
Right.
And
Right.
so it's how we react when the world comes to us.
Right.
And it just
Exactly.
wants to protect us. And it loves us, right? Like it's not a
Yeah.
goal to like not have any reaction when
Yeah.
things happen.
No.
Maybe it is. I don't know. I'm not at the top of the mountain wearing the white robes yet. So who knows? But uh,
Lauren, we,
yeah,
we talked
maybe
about the
someday.
process. We
Yeah.
talked about the process. There's nowhere to be. I mean, we are here. We're enjoying the process. We are all work in progress.
Oh, absolutely.
And I feel like that I'll have to choose every day of my life.
Yeah.
It's a never-ending story.
Yeah, for sure. And sometimes I want to listen to my survival mechanism.
Oh, yes,
Right?
absolutely.
And I want to be protected. I want to stay comfy. I want to stay in the familiar, and that's okay. And then the
Mhm.
next time I get to choose again.
Yeah.
And so for me, there's so much value in recognizing like who I am at my core, what the essence of me is, and what my survival mechanisms are, and then being confronted with a situation and deciding like, do I want to come to this or at this from a place of like, I got to get through this, so just like work
Hmm.
with me and let's get it done, or do I
Yeah.
want to get go through it, and really be thoughtful and come from my heart and decide how I want to be in it. And
Right.
it depends. Like
It
I'm,
depends.
I still talk to customer service people about my incorrect bills.
Yeah. You sometimes you just need to be in it for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So what happened for you
Hmm.
that like what was an aha moment for you or a shift for you where you realized that anything's possible?
Um. Wow. I think when I decided to become a coach, I mean, I was, can I say it, freaking out. I mean, I was completely freaked out because and I never coached before. I mean, I did strategy and I thought strategy is coaching, but strategy is all about the content, the content.
Mhm.
It's like, all about the information. And that's what I did. That's what I know. And in our program, they just throw you right into a Zoom conversation with a coachee. And I mean, I completely freaked out, but I had to do it. There's nowhere to hide. I mean,
Right.
you're right there in front of this person, and you have to be there for him, I don't know, for half an hour, 45 minutes. And somebody's watching you, and one or two of your friends are watching you. And I just did it. I mean, and going forward, and I think seeing how what it did to people and how much we did in these 20 minutes, half an hour, how much people gained from it. They
Mhm.
became lighter, they became happier, they came back to whatever they wanted to do. Because when you start coaching, people have an aim for this conversation. So they came back to this aim from a different perspective. And when you are there with them and you see, even if it's a small transformation, it's mind blowing.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
why I'm here. And
yeah,
that's when I saw the possibility, because I transformed and I saw that I can hold space for people to be with people, that they can do the same thing and experience this amazing thing that's called coaching.
yeah,
And that was my aha moment. It was because it was big. It was big for me. I never did it before. And it was scary at the same time, but I went for it. That was my possibility because I just stepped out of what I knew and what I was used to. And I just went for it. And it felt amazing. Everything changed
yeah.
after that. Woo! Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it was, there wasn't just one moment. There were a million moments, right?
Yeah.
Where it was like, I can choose in that area too. Oh, I can choose what boundaries I want to put in place. I can choose my career. I can choose how many hours I put in. I can
Yeah.
choose how I respond to people. I can choose what time I look at my phone in the morning. Big things and little things, right? And none of that felt like possibility for me. Like what it
Mm.
felt like for me before I started being coached was like almost like this is the trench I dug for myself. This is where I live now. And
Mm.
and so for me to see possibility in like 5-minute increments of like, I'm taking 5 minutes to breathe in the middle of the day, and I'm not going to look at my phone for that 5 minutes.
Yeah.
was like, well, what else is possible? What else could I be doing differently? What else could I be looking at differently?
If I could put it in one word, for me, it was freedom. It
Yeah.
was absolutely freedom from where we came from. And now it's like, oh my gosh, at the end of our when we finished our program, they showed us a little video of us of the first day
Oh, yes.
when we came. I
Yeah.
mean, all of us were blown away.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing to see how far we came.
Mhm.
It's really, I thought about, it's funny, I'm just, thought about to do it for my clients
Mhm.
somehow. I think it's a great opportunity to see, where you were before
Mm.
and where are you right now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I didn't even know what I was talking about because I was talking about perfectionism.
Yeah. I think almost every single one of us, we're like, everything has to be a certain way, and this is how my life is. And yeah.
Isn't it weird that all of us had the same things? I mean, we're
Yeah. I
so
mean, we all
similar.
present in different ways, but
Yeah.
we all created um and when I say we all, I mean like all of us adults in the world.
Oh,
We
yeah, yeah,
all
yeah. That's what I meant.
created this way that things are supposed to be,
Yeah.
that things are, right? And we create these truths that are true for as long as we believe that they're true.
Yeah.
Um and it makes it really hard to see. It's like the race horses that were the
Like
blind.
Meredith said. Yes.
Yeah. Um, that yeah, like the blind spots, but
Yeah.
it's like we unintentionally build a path and we don't see that we can turn left or right and
Right.
or just get off that path all the way. Just like that's not the path anymore. And so for me, it was like I built a corporate life. That's what my life is. It's a corporate life. I work all the time. I got to the executive level. Who would give that up?
Right.
And, like I did all of the things. If I give that up, it's going to look like I failed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It is so difficult to give
And
it
that
away.
is such a great example of being, right? Because my being was in a place where like I had this drive for one specific kind of success
Yeah.
and I couldn't see the opportunity to be any other way.
Yeah.
And now my being is like, I can do whatever the heck I want. I wake up in the morning, I decide what I want to do. I keep my commitments and my client appointments and keep welcoming new clients in. And and then the rest of my life is just whatever I want it to be. And old me
Can
could never have imagined that. And I
can
hear
I
that from my clients that like they go into new jobs or they change the way that they're approaching their own jobs, and their family relationships are changing, their friendships are
yeah.
changing, their relationships to themselves are changing. And like for some of them, they stay in the same job and they're like, I can't believe I still have the same job. You just do it differently and your whole life can change.
Yeah. Wow.
Meredith says, take the zip line. It's more fun than the old path. And then she
Yeah, what
her grammar. I appreciate that.
oh my gosh. We're all about joy and fun. Yeah. That's what we are right now.
Yeah.
That's what we chose to be
Yeah.
from.
We chose fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So, so what would you say to somebody who's in, well, first of all, tell us again who you work with and like when that kind of person would benefit from coaching. Like what do they need to see in themselves in order to decide to work with you?
Um, they need to get to this level that they're overworked. It doesn't work for them anymore. And they see that there is something else for them. And it can't be the end. It can't be that. It's not it.
Yeah.
There's a way to go forward, but they're not sure how to get there.
Yeah.
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 So, and I work, as I said, I work with creatives that are really hard workers. They put their heart and their soul into the work.
Yeah.
And there are nice people because everybody else is in front of them, talking about boundaries. There are not boundaries in place. They love making impact on other people. And they, as I said, they know that there is a way out, but they're not sure how to get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
We work with different,
yes,
different people, different, but it's all the same, right?
it's all the same.
My wheelhouse is executives and directors, managers in corporate,
Right. Yeah.
who also they hit this point where they're just like, there's got to be something better, and they just
Yeah.
can't see what that is.
Right.
And you shouldn't have to be responsible for figuring it all out on your own.
No.
You just have to know it's not working right now. And I think both of us work with this very challenging audience of achievers who are like,
Yeah.
I should just be able to figure it out on my own.
I
Right. And we
should.
can point to ourselves too, because that's where we both started. Right.
Right.
I'm a successful adult person who makes money.
Yes.
I should be able to just figure this out on my own.
Right.
And the best thing I ever did was decide that I couldn't figure it out on my own.
It's so hard.
That's like the first drop of possibility that I saw, was like, oh, it's actually possible that somebody else may know more about how I can get to the core of me
Yeah.
than I do.
It's letting go.
Mm-hmm.
And letting go is so difficult, especially for high achievers.
Yeah.
Because they want to control everything.
Right.
Oof. Yeah.
And they have been able to.
Yes.
Until whatever
Until
this
now.
is.
Yes.
Yeah. I know. We're
So,
tricky bunch of achievers.
We're asking you to let go a little bit, just a little bit.
Just a little bit, just to be willing to explore
Yeah.
what doesn't work for you anymore, and to be willing to dream a little bit about what could be. I had no idea what I wanted.
No.
When I started coaching, I just didn't want what I had.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know what to expect. I came there just to figure it out. Like, is it going to work for me or not?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What a surprise.
Yeah.
What
well,
a beautiful, amazing surprise.
My first thought in going for this coach training was like, oh, I'll add another certification to my achiever packet.
It was so
like, I'll do it for my impact on the world.
Exactly.
I mean, it
exactly
transformed me and
yes,
broke me into pieces and put me back together. And
we were joking about it.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, that's what I thought. I thought, okay, I'll add it to my brand strategy work.
Yeah.
Doing it for others.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm better at everything I do because I've been coached.
Oh yeah. Same here.
Yeah.
There is this weight that was lifted from my shoulders. Because I can be whoever I want to choose. To be.
I know.
It's amazing. I have to remind it to myself every day, though. It doesn't come naturally for some reason, because we hold these stories for such a long time, and that's how we grew up. It comes from such a deep place.
Yeah.
But just the awareness that we know changes everything. And then you take action toward that. That's what
even on the days when you just choose to have a crappy day, right? I still have crappy days.
Of course.
Right. And I wake up and I think I'm going to go meditate and it's going to be all better. And then I start meditating and I'm like, I hate this, right? I hate everything. And I just wallow for the day, or I stay angry for the day.
Yeah.
But I'm choosing it. And I'm choosing to let my brain and my body process that so that the next day I can choose something different, or the next moment I can choose something different. And I didn't understand how much choice we had.
Yeah, and yeah, as we said before, choice and letting go.
Yeah.
It was so difficult.
Yeah.
There was something else I know we didn't talk about. Something that I didn't do before was meditating
Mm.
and
Same.
spirituality,
Yeah.
right?
I know.
Oof, for both of us.
I know. Yeah. We could talk for
Ooh,
hours about that.
the woo-woo part of it, like
Absolutely.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, was very out of my comfort zone.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
Anat,
yeah.
talk to you forever, but we've
Oh my
been
God,
on this
are
live
we done?
2 minutes. I know we're coming to the end. So first of all, thank you so
Oh my
much for
gosh.
spending time with me. You're magic.
Thank Lauren. I
And
can be here every day with you.
I'd love to know if you have any final thoughts on possibility and choice and
Hmm.
being.
Yes, I just want to say, guys, it's available for all of us. You deserve to be free.
Yeah.
You deserve to have this wonderful freedom to live your life to the fullest, to always be a choice.
Yeah.
And if you feel that this is something that you're curious about, that it's your time to go forward, just do it. Find somebody that you make a connection with. It is important
Yeah.
to have a good connection with your coach. It's deep work, and it's very personal. Just go for it. You
Mm.
absolutely deserve it, and you can do it. You have everything in you to do it.
Yeah.
If we did it, you can do it.
Right. Yeah. We've got a couple of comments here. Meredith is saying thank you both so much. Thank you for
Oh,
being here
thank you, Meredith.
and your support.
Oh,
And
hey, Van.
saying y'all are speaking my language. What a lovely
Yes.
conversation. I'm
Yay,
a
Van.
former New Yorker who just said y'all out loud, so I think I'm officially a Southerner now.
Oh,
Thank you for
so
that.
happy that Van is here. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I would say, there's no path that you've created for yourself that makes it too late.
No, never.
There's no too late. There's no you missed your shot. There's no I can't do anything else.
Mm-mm.
What there is that you don't have to do it by yourself. And for the people who are high achievers, who have gotten to X point in their career where they feel like they should be happy and excited and grateful for what they have, and they're not, this isn't the end. You get to choose, and you get to get supported and choose your life in a whole new way. And it's really worth it.
Yeah, you can choose. You can choose if it will be a continuation. You can
Yeah.
choose if it can be something new.
Yeah.
And we'll be there for you
Yes.
and with you.
Yes.
Wow, Lauren, it was so good. I loved it.
Great.
Thank you
Great.
for inviting me.
Thank you for being here. And thanks everyone for being here. And if you watch this on the replay, please leave us a comment. We'll make sure to keep an eye on this and respond. And both of us are linked in the posts for this live, so you can find both of us on whatever platform you're on. And I'll talk to you real soon.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, Lauren.
Take care.
Bye.